Hello and welcome to Comic Island. My name is Arden, and today we're going to talk about the preview for Avengers Infinity Wars. That S is important because it's going to be very confusing otherwise, what with Avengers Infinity War having only been about a week away. Yet I've been looking at some of the previews and promotional material that Marvel's released for their big 2018 comic book crossover event, and it looks kind of cool. I haven't been super on board with a lot of Marvel's events lately. They've been circular, they haven't been very good, and there's been so many of them in so few recent years that it's just become a clustered mess. Yet this one looks pretty interesting. It promises the introduction of a new villain who exists somewhere within the cosmic order of Marvel named Requiem. The promotional features also imply a great deal of death and more depressing overtones are going to be throughout this event. The big caption and tag for this story is "Death Wins," and we see a Star-Lord and Captain Marvel looking like they're in quite a bit of trouble at the hands of this new character, Requiem. It looks as though Marvel is attempting to capitalize on Infinity War, the movie, matching the dark and sinister tones of that film while also kind of doing its own thing with a new character, yet clearly involving similar figures within the MCU and characters that are going to be super relevant in the MCU going forward. To be honest, they overall improved. This is the sort of thing that Marvel and DC should be doing in spades, since with these big movies coming out, this is a good time to get people into reading comics, and a big event like this might be just the thing to do it. Plus it's original and different, featuring a new character and new ideas, along with new protagonists to go up against that villain. Not new in the sense of those are new characters as well, but ones that we don't typically focus on in terms of these big cosmic Marvel stories. So instead of having Captain America and Iron Man lead the charge, we have Star-Lord and Captain Marvel, along with others like Black Widow and Doctor Strange to sort of fill in the roster a little bit. All of that is great and makes me more or less excited for this event. About as excited for a Marvel event as I could get, barring some crazy Hall of Fame style talent being attached to it. This event will largely be brought to us by Jerry Duggan and Mike Deodato Jr. Deodato is a great choice and promises to bring a lot of stellar art with his work because that's usually how the man rolls. Jerry Duggan's an interesting choice, and one that I wouldn't have really gone with, at least based on my gut instinct. He's written quite a few things, some more serious than others involving more cosmic-y events than most, but when I think of this guy, I mostly think of a Deadpool writer. To be honest, that's good. Whereas Marvel picking Nick Spencer for Amazing Spider-Man was pretty obvious and predictable, this was not. This was against my expectations and graded against the sort of person I would have assumed Marvel would have picked or would have picked myself to write an event like this. And that's a good thing because it means they might see something that we don't, or perhaps this writer might show us something that we wouldn't have necessarily automatically expected out of him. Just because he's written some more comedic things before doesn't mean he can be more serious, and so I'm cautiously optimistic about this event. Though I understand if you don't share those feelings. For one thing, Marvel just can't stop doing these events, but also they can't seem to create fully original stories or ideas or even just titles for new stories anymore. Infinity Wars itself is based on a story from the 1980s, not Infinity Gauntlet, which informed Marvel Infinity War, but rather a title called Infinity War from 1982, involving the villain Magus getting a hold of the Infinity Gauntlet. I doubt they're gonna go that route, but already the Infinity Countdown stuff involved Ultron, so they're clearly trying different things. Plus, they're once again involving the Infinity Gems as part of this story. Again, because we want to bring people in from Infinity War into these comics, all this strikes me as a good thing. We're mostly focusing on characters that people will be familiar with and had seen in Infinity War, along with down the road with Captain Marvel. All that comes together for a pretty exciting event, hopefully. We'll see what happens this August, but yeah, like I said, cautiously optimistic. Not setting myself up for disappointment, but at least open to the possibility that this might be good or fun. I don't have to be cynical if I don't want to, and this looks like, maybe Marvel's trying something different enough that we're gonna get something fun as opposed to the relatively disappointing events we've gotten the last few times around this event. Most especially Civil War II, but also Secret Empire and Monsters Unleashed. Requiem herself looks pretty interesting, and I have my own thoughts on who that might be or what's going on there, but I'll leave it for now. Suffice to say, the fact that the other promotional image for this is just a big declaration that Thanos wins, I have some thoughts about who Requiem might be, and it's probably someone related to that particular villain. Nevertheless, he should be involved in this story too, especially like I said, given that we want to make this into a tie-in that more or less will be easy and something people who just saw Infinity War want to read. Though Marvel should be careful not to duplicate the tone and story of Infinity War too much, people will want something a little different and maybe not quite as dark as depressing. Just because, not that there is anything wrong with Infinity War doing that, but people don't like to see the same thing over and over again. So we'll see where all this goes. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below, because I can see both sides of this issue. I can see why some people might be excited about this, and I kind of share that feeling, but I can see why some people might be a little more jaded, given that so much of this is what Marvel's already done. They've done so many of these events, they've done so many attempts to bring back old stories in a new framework, and they've done a lot of death recently, and that might underwhelm them. Infinity War was good because people didn't expect the MCU to do all the deaths and crazy stuff they did. We kind of expect that out of Marvel Comics though, since they did the exact same thing in Secret Empire, in Civil War II, and most of their other events scaling back in time. Age of Ultron, Secret Invasion, Siege, they all do this. They all kill off a couple of characters relatively unceremoniously, and those characters are almost immediately brought back, so the stakes really aren't meaningfully raised. So like I said, I understand where the cynics or critics of Marvel are coming from, because Marvel has created that environment. Yet we can't just never give them another chance again, so we'll have to see how this goes. I'll let you know what I think about all of this stuff once we get around to August. So, yeah. That's kind of my thoughts about it in both ways, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say on the matter. Thanks for watching, and if you like Comic Island, check out our Patreon page in the video description below. Patrons have a say in the videos we make, and have a general good time with other features on our Patreon page. And finally, don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep reading comics.